everybody. My name's Jason Flowers. How you doing? And the project here is I'm going to survey a list of Bluetooth tools, and I'm going to put them up against a Bluetooth lock, which is this Master Lock 4401 I got at Home Depot. And we'll see if I can actually crack the lock. Actually, so you're not on pins and needles, I will tell you that I cannot crack this lock. So let's get into this. What we've got here is we've got my laptop. I've got Kali Linux loaded up. Kali Linux is right there on that USB drive. I also have this hardware device over here. This is called an Ubertooth 1. What this does is it sniffs out Bluetooth packets in promiscuous mode, meaning it will display all packets regardless of whether they were intended for my device or not. It's actually kind of a nifty little deal there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demo a handful of tools and how well or not well they work versus this lock. All right. Whoops. Okay, so I want to start by saying I've been working on this solid 2.5 months in all of my spare time. This is labor of love. What I'm showing you doesn't look like much, but considering my background, this is actually a huge victory for me. I have never used Linux before. I have never done anything with Bluetooth before. All this is brand spanking new. So, of course, the first thing we start is surveillance, right? We need to sniff out some packets. So I'm using a tool called HCI tool, and this comes with the standard Linux Bluetooth drivers, the Bluetooth library, I should say. And you'll see that it detected the MAC address, the Bluetooth MAC address for my master lock. And there it is, D0B5C2C6, 66 Foxtrot 6, right? So that was easy. That part works. The LE scan says that I want it to specifically scan for Bluetooth low energy devices, which my lock is. So now that we know the MAC address, now we can start targeting it. What I'm going for now is an attack called BlueSmack. This is an older attack. What it would do is it's trying to mirror that Windows 95 attack from a long time ago called the ping of death, where you send a single oversized ping and the system doesn't know what to do with it, so it crashes. And in the case of a Bluetooth lock, it could potentially unlock the lock. So the command here is called L2 ping. It's going to send a Bluetooth ping message. I made it oversized. That's a 900 byte ping, or 900 byte ping message, which is way bigger than it needs to be. And there's our MAC address that we're targeting. It's trying, it's thinking, and can't connect, host is down. So this L2 ping message is unable to connect with my master lock. Now we're going to use this Ubertooth, and I'm going to execute a command called Ubertooth-BTLE. Again, it's targeting specifically the Bluetooth low energy devices. And what this will do is sniff out packets. But I'm using this -F tag, which means follow. It's going to put it in follow mode. Remember, Bluetooth has frequency hopping, so it hops frequencies X number of times per second. The -F will follow a message from a particular to a particular target, which is that MAC address I put in, and it will follow through the different frequencies. And I'm starting on channel 38 because Ubertooth can only monitor one channel at a time, 37, 30, 80, or 39, or whichever one I pick. But the advertisement packets, which begin this whole process, always start on channel 37, 38, or 39. So I have a 1 in 3 chance of guessing it with the Ubertooth, but I checked it in advance and it's channel 38. So executing this, now what we're seeing is a whole series of advertisement messages coming out from our master lock saying, I'm here if anybody wants to connect with me. Now, I can control the lock through the phone, but I'm also using the phone as a camcorder, so I can't run the test in full. What I did was I'm simulating that all this output that you're seeing is getting sent to a file. I already preset this file, so this file has all the data that I need in it, but pretend that we're sending it into that file right now, okay? And now that it's in the file, we can analyze it using Wireshark. So we're going to open Wireshark right now. I get error messages, but that's okay. So now I'm going to open that file that we wrote to. And here it is. Staring at Wireshark, it's got Bluetooth messages. I'm sorry about the focus. I don't know why it's not focusing very well. But you got advertisement, advertisement, advertisement all over the place. Now at the bottom, you got this connection request. This was my phone simulating that I sent a connection request to the master lock saying that I want to unlock the lock by using my phone. It sends this connection request, and now I can actually monitor that. I can look at the packets. Here's all the data. You can see maybe the couple different MAC addresses in there. This 05 is what tells it that it's a connection request. And we can run analysis from there. Good stuff. Good, those are just more Wireshark error messages. Now we're going to try a tool called Crackle. Crackle is going to try to brute force the temporary key, which then leads it to guessing the short-term key, which then leads it to guessing the long-term key. And at that point, it's got the keys to the city, so to speak, and it can monitor any, it can decrypt any traffic. So the input is that file that we created, uber.pcap, and it gives us an output file as well. However, when I try to run Crackle, it's going to complain. It's going to say it can't find a pairing request or a pairing response. There's just not enough information inside that file I created to be able to brute force a password. Now, what happened was, when my phone sent the request to the lock to unlock the lock, there's a connection request, and then there's no further traffic. All the pairing and all that information is gone. I don't know where it is. I don't know if Ubertooth is unable to follow it through the different frequencies, or if the pairing's not even happening, or if it's happening in a different way than the tool's used to picking up. So for whatever reason, I'm not getting that traffic, and as a result, Crackle will not work for us. Now, the next tool is a tool called SpoofTooth. SpoofTooth is kind of cool. What this thing does is it can change the MAC address on my laptop to be any MAC address that I want. So I can spoof my laptop into pretending that I'm, for example, the cell phone that controls the lock. So go into SpoofTooth, and here's what it looks like. Right now it's in a scan mode, so it's detecting MAC addresses. It detected a MAC address. It's probably my neighbor or something. I don't think it's mine. And it is not detecting our device, though. Now, if I go in anyway and I say, you know what, I want to try to spoof my laptop to be the device, because I already know the MAC address, so I don't really need SpoofTooth to detect that for me. SpoofTooth gives me an error saying that it is unable to do that. So SpoofTooth doesn't work either. The last tool I like to demo is called GATTool. The way this works is within the GATT layer of the Bluetooth protocol, devices can actually store data. It's kind of like a config file where they can store information about that device. For example, if we were looking at a Bluetooth light bulb, you might have a config setting saying what color it is. Is it set to be green? Is it set to be yellow? Set to be brown? Whatever the case. Now, those config settings are publicly available to any device that is able to successfully connect to our lock in this case. So if SpoofTooth would have worked and we would have been able to potentially connect to the lock because the lock thinks that our laptop's actually the cell phone, then we could follow it up with this GATTool command and actually modify some of the config settings in the lock. For example, to lock or unlock maybe. So what I'm supposed to be able to do is type in this connect command here, but it says connection refused and I'm not able to connect. So the bottom line is that this lock is actually fairly secure, but also a lot of these tools in Kali Linux, they seem pretty old to me. I think many of the devices today have actually put in countermeasures against these attacks, which is good news because that means they work, but it's bad news because I was not able to crack anything, which sucks because I was looking forward to that. Let's see, MAC addresses are pretty easy to obtain. There's a whole number of different tools that do that for us. And I go into more specifics in my paper. I didn't want to make this a ridiculously large video file. But that's what I got. Thanks, everybody.